So here's the bat house up on a pole, but as you can see the pole is horizontal and I've got to get it vertical somehow with that heavy bat house up on top of it. And I'm by myself, so I got to come up with a plan. So I guess this is my plan. I've got to weight, some rope, and come along. What I'm going to do is try to get the rope over that limb and then try to crank that bat house up in the air using the come along. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so I fed the rope through an eye on the back of the post, attached the weight to the end of it so the weight gets caught on that eye and can't come out. In case the rope does get stuck in there and I can't get the weight down afterwards, provided I do get this thing in the air, I have another rope tied to the weight so I can pull it out of the eye. The rope, that is, not the weight. And it's with the house uphill and the post downhill, because it wouldn't make sense to try to crank it the opposite way. And I'll give it a whirl, see if I can do this. So using the come along and rope, you can see I got it cranked up. It's now up in the air, but I wish I could have got just a little bit better bite on it. I'm going to have to muscle this a little bit. For now, the goal is to sink a post right here somewhere and try to get this lined up and fastened together. Right next to where the end of my pole sits, I used a post hole digger to dig a hole about 4 foot deep. Got an 8-foot post, and you can see it's sunk just about halfway in. That's going to be plenty of support for this, hopefully. I will add brace, perhaps in the future, as soon as I get this thing set up. Let's see if I can do that. So I let the post set up for a while. Then I bring more sand in, pack it down, and add more water. Plenty of water. Let it suck it down tight. Then I'll add more sand and pack it down again. So I already set up some deck nails and deck screws galvanized, so that when I spin this thing around and line it up, I can just screw or hammer it onto the post without too much struggle. Put a plank to rest the pole on, muscled it around, and drove it in. I loosed the rope, and you can see that weight's holding up there, but all I need is a little tug with this rope and I can bring it down. Now what I might do is actually feed a line back up through without the weight and use it to anchor somewhere, just for added support. I also have to reinforce this post in a couple spots, so I'm not quite finished yet. Okay, you can see where I attached this to the post. I also boxed it in on both sides for added support, and that's because I have a seam here, and wherever you have a seam you want to reinforce it. That's going to make sure if I get really high winds it doesn't snap at this point. A nice support system going here. In fact, I took it up one side quite a ways. So the reason I put the bat box right there is because this way is where the sun comes up and rises over, and it gets the sunlight almost all day long until the sun, which is right there now, drops into these trees. So it gets sunlight almost all day long, and this way goes out over my house. And one of the things you want is you want your bat house to be out off the edge of the woods facing an open area. So there's a big wide open area. I got my backyard, there's a field back there, and over my house. So they've got a big wide open space, plus out the front yard, etc. So it's setting up higher than it looks from this distance here. If you measure from the ground up to the bottom of the box, it's 18 feet. I already measured it when I made the pole, and then you have another 2 foot of the box. So it's 20 foot at the top of this bat box, which is a good height. You want it at least 15 feet high. Another thing is, where I placed it, I could literally lay in bed and look out and watch it. So as dusk falls or dawn comes on, I can just sit there and watch and see if any bats are coming in and out. And I haven't put any supports on it yet. So far, it looks like it's really holding up well. It's very sturdy. You see it's blowing like crazy outside. There's heavy winds. That thing's not moving at all. Not a bit.